I'm standing here at D'Amato Lane in Island Park, named for Senator Alphonse D'Amato, who lives in Lido Beach, who grew up in this neighborhood in Island Park. Why am I here? Because of this week's Parsha, which is named Yisro for a non-Jewish secular leader who helped us and hopefully helped people. And that was why he came and he gave advice to Moshe Rabbeinu, and presumably Senator D'Amato, not just being a native son of Island Park, but helped the state of New York as serving as its senator for several years. What was Yisro's suggestion? He saw how hard Moshe was working. It was right after Matan Torah. Bnei Israel had all kinds of questions, whether it was this one wants to sue that one, or how to kosher things. You know, the Torah was all very new to them. And Moshe Rabbeinu was, from day to night, all day long, he was sitting and answering these questions. So Yisro said, listen, why don't you delegate a little? Why don't you create a bureaucracy? Sound familiar? It's been in the news. Creating a bureaucracy, having bureaucrats answer questions and making decisions, because the leaders can't get to every single detail. That's crazy. So what's the suggestion? That you should have a prince of 10, a prince of 50, a prince of 100, and a prince of 1,000. Most people understand that to believe that a prince of 10 is for every 10 Jews, there's a judge, a prince. And then for every 100, for every 1,000, and for every 50. That would accrue to 78,600 people in the new bureaucracy of Am Yisrael. That's 13% of the 600,000 population. That's a lot of people, but there were a lot of questions. Rav Samson Raphael Hirsch actually understood that to mean it wasn't one representing every 10 and one representing every 50, but it was one out of somebody that was chosen from 10, somebody that was chosen from 100, somebody that was chosen from 1,000. So it spoke not only how many people they served, but how qualified they were. Rav Soloveitchik asks a question. He says, Moshe was a smart person. Aaron was smart. Miriam was smart. The Jewish people were smart. They're coming from Yosef HaTzadik, who was a leader of a whole country. Why didn't they think of this? Why did it take Yisro to come up with this idea? Rav Soloveitchik gave a wonderful answer. And he said, Moshe Rabbeinu knew that if he came up with the idea, if Aaron came up with the idea, it would look like they're not interested in spending time with the people anymore. Nobody wants to hear that. I know sometimes a rabbi brings in an assistant rabbi. Sometimes the rabbi wants the assistant rabbi. Sometimes the congregation wants the assistant rabbi. The shul has gotten big and the rabbi can't service everybody. And it's hard because the rabbi wants to be the rabbi for everybody and not delegate it to someone else. And sometimes you get that reaction. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want anybody, chas v'shalom, to think that he wasn't interested in listening to them and whatever their pekala was. He didn't want anybody to think that. So they had to wait for somebody a little bit from the outside to come up with the suggestion, to come up with the idea. And that is Rabbi Soloveitchik's way of understanding why they had to wait for Yisro, the namesake. And if we had streets, we'd certainly have a Yisro street as well. And to wait for him. Hope everybody has a beautiful, beautiful Shabbos.